Oh, boy.
You know, we don't want video games out there harming people.
They wouldn't dare address the real problem in this society.
So, thank goodness we have a government that's willing to crack down.
Yeah, video games. Just get the list of these government officials who feel video games is worthwhile for them to be busy with in this time of crisis, in this ever-changing environment that we're in, and get their names, and you've got to really vote them out of office. You just got to. I mean, it's absurd.
You got to write to them. You got to do something. You got to let them know that this is not what you want them wasting their time on.
Video games.
Parents can do that. You don't want your child to see a violent video game or play it?
No, we'll
Take it away.
No, we have guys who can regulate that. They're also worried about children. All right, you go ahead, Robin.
Remember Kimberly Mays, the little girl who was switched at birth?
Don't tell me she's dating Piscopo.
No. Piscopo is with his own Kimberly Driscoll. Kimberly Mays was the little girl who wound up in a terrible custody battle with her biological parents, whom she did not know, and her father, who, you know, she had thought was her father for 13 years, when it was discovered that at birth, somehow in the hospital, she had been switched for another baby. Well, she has now run away from home.
Hey, I'll adopt her. She's cute.
She is having what they call the normal teenage problems as a result of all the stress she's been under. This whole incident started out just as a simple family argument, and then she just decided, you know, I got to get out of here. So she was at some YWCA youth services place to sort of take some time.
Mellow out.
To gather her thoughts and get her head together. Her parents, the Twigs, you know, her biological parents, are continuing.
Twigs? How'd they get that name?
To fight for her.
Maybe that's why she doesn't want to go back with her biological parents, because their name is Twig. She doesn't want to be known as Kimberly Twigs.
And they seem, according to this account, to have a total lack of concern for her feelings, and she's completely stressed out. There was no charge of abuse leveled, but apparently she was having some words with her father and decided to take a little hiatus from home.
All right, here's the problem. Your kid is switched at birth. You find out the kid's like 15 years old. You want your kid back. Right? Mm-hmm. You feel bad for the parents, the biological parents. They lost their kid. But here's the problem. This kid now has grown up with another set of parents, and she's attached to them. And so you make a play for her. You know, you try to get her back, but you see it's not going easy. The kid doesn't want to leave. And as painful as it is, you got to say to yourself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to contact the kid. I'm just going to say this. Listen, we're here if you ever need us. If you ever want to contact us, we're your biological parents. We love you. We got screwed out of our life with our own child. We're going to sue the hospital. We're going to sue everyone. We're going to be very wealthy people.
You might want to visit us in our mansion.
You might want to visit us in the new mansion. Jethro's moving in. He's our nephew from and Ellie Mae and everyone else.
All the Twigs.
Yeah, all the Twigs. Jethro Twig, Ellie Mae Twig, Granny Twig, and Homer Twig, whatever his name was.
Rented a Brinks truck.
Right. We rent a Brinks truck and come on over. So if you want, we're here for you. We see it's not going easy, and then you back off. Okay.
This is a new tack for you to take. Do you remember what your original stand was?
I told you what my original stand is, and it still stands. The parents have a right to this kid. They should be able to take the kid back. But you can see at this point, this kid's completely screwed up over it.
Well, this is what I was trying to tell you in the first place.
Right. All right. So, okay, I'm with you now. So what I'm saying is...
It's about time you learn something from me.
As soon as you say to this kid, listen, we got a Brinks truck, and when you want to stop by if you want to mellow out a little bit. Believe me, the kid will be by.
Well, notice that even though she didn't run to them. She had a family she could have run to.
Right.
But she decided to go to the YWCA.
And she went because she's scared of these people. All they got to do is back off now. She'll come running. But that's the answer to this one. And let's stop it already.
It's too late. They've gone too far, and they seem to just keep going.
Right.
There was a case, I can't remember the school district, but of pierced eyebrows. Some kids, they're doing their thing.
A lot of people don't know what to do with themselves. I'll be piercing.
Had,
I'll be piercing in a few years. Yeah, go ahead.
They had changed their hair color. Nobody seemed upset.
Right.
They had pierced their nose. Nobody seemed upset.
Right.
So finally they said, you know what, let's put some holes in our eyebrows.
Right.
So they put the holes in their eyebrows.
And now people got upset.
And they showed up at school, and now the school has banned them. They say, no, you're not coming in here with any eyebrow rings. So, of course, the kids are now claiming their First Amendment rights. You know, they should be able to wear any kind of jewelry they want to school.
You know, at some point, the teacher's going to throw up from looking at all these kids. Sometimes that piercing is very disturbing to look at.
That's exactly what happened. The principal said a couple of the teachers got sick.
I mean, they're weeks away from you know, people putting plates in their lips. I mean, this is like the wildest of Africa. Look.
Now the kids can't go to school with their eyebrow earrings.
Man, what it is that, listen, most times you ignore it. How long do you think someone's going to keep their eyebrows pierced? And I'm all for, you do your own thing. But at some point, these kids come into school, you can't even concentrate. There's so much jewelry on their face.
You're looking at everything going on.
It's outrageous. And they really just want to be noticed, these kids.
That's what I said. They kept on until they got the attention they wanted.
At some point, you got to draw the line.
Meanwhile, another principals group is asking students, parents, and anybody else to pledge in writing to help rid schools of guns and other weapons. The National Association of Secondary School Principals will mail to all U.S. middle and high schools a contract that provides specific actions designed to avoid guns at school.
Okay, now, what will Congress do? They're going to say, well, society's out of control, kids have guns in school, we're going to now legislate television because that's where they're getting the idea from. Now, where are all these guns? For the most part, inner city. Yeah, I know there's some white kids carrying guns to school, but for the most part, it's inner city. And really, what these congressmen should do is say it like it is. There's a problem in the inner city, in the Black and Hispanic communities.
Well, you keep saying that. You don't live anywhere else but in a inner city and in an urban setting.
Who doesn't?
You don't.
No, let me tell you where I live. I know exactly where I live. I don't see anybody with guns there. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. This is a socioeconomic problem.
Okay, whatever.
At a certain level in society, this has become a problem. Has nothing to do with race.
Okay. Sure.
Make it about race if you want to.
It is about race.
Doesn't answer the question.
The predominant problem is in the Black and Hispanic community.
If you go to a black community that is middle class, you will not find this problem.
True.
I said it was a socioeconomic thing.
Okay, fine. With Black and Hispanic communities.
All right. No white kids.
There's a lot of poor. No, I didn't say no white kids, but most poor white communities are not plagued with this problem.
All right. I would like a survey to show me that.
Okay. I'll produce that tomorrow. And the point that I'm making is this: that a congressman is full of crap if he's going to tell you this is coming from TV or video games. He just doesn't have the balls to say what the problem is. There's no parenting going on. There's no sort of intervention in the family. Kids are running wild in the streets. Maybe they got a grandparent watching them. Maybe they don't.
The grandparents raised the parents that abandoned their children. So what?
How much better are they going to do? They're tired at this point.
Better.
It's going to be worse. And it's awful. It's an awful problem. But I don't see why the rest of society has to suffer and has to be told that they're bad little children and we can't watch Gunsmoke reruns anymore. But these guys don't have the balls to say it like it is. You know, you brought up a movie before. There's a movie called Menace to Society. It lays it right on the line.
Everybody should see it.
Everyone should go see that movie. Congressmen should be forced to watch that movie. That's what's going on in the Black and Hispanic community. Blacks and Hispanics are killing each other with guns. They're bringing guns to school in mass numbers. And these congressmen want to legislate everyone else and tell us we can't, because a couple of people have been bad, we now have to suffer. And we have to have these ridiculous rules. And it sucks. And they all don't have the balls to say that. You think any of those guys would go down and meet with some of these parents who don't parent their children? Where's he going to go find them?
You can't find them.
So they meet with video game operators. Skeeves and suckers. The FCC, 5 guys on a government payroll sitting there and going to now waste millions of dollars in court cases against this company because I said penis on the radio. You have to see the transcripts that they're objecting to really have a good laugh. And don't kid yourself. The government has to hire attorneys to press this case. They got to pay millions of dollars. Better those go to metal detectors in the inner city. Something. That's 5 guys wasting your taxpayers' money. Good luck to you. Me, I'm going to be out of radio in a year and a half, so I don't care. They could sit there and legislate all they want. I'm getting out.
Well, all I say is if people continue to think of this as a racial problem, they can watch the problem spread just like every other problem has spread in this country when you try to put a color on it. A new drug for schizophrenia may help more people leave psychiatric hospitals and go out on their own.
Did you just make a point and then try to move on to the next subject without me responding? That was a good move. Is this supposed to be poignant?
No, it's just to keep your mouth shut and let me have the last word.
Go ahead.
Janssen Pharmaceuticals says Risperdal is the first drug in 15 years for use as a frontline option for treating patients with schizophrenia. There are 1 to 2 million people suffering from this disease in the country, and usually we don't have any way of treating them.
Now, is this the drug I was talking about?
They are subjected to drugs with horrible, horrible side effects, and that's why these people then stop taking the drugs once you let them out of the hospital.
Right.
This one apparently doesn't have these, horrible side effects, and there's less of a tendency for the patients to stop taking the drugs and wind up back in hospital care.
Is this the drug from France that I was telling you about?
They don't say. So I don't know if it's that drug or not. But you think you mean the French came up with something that you approve of?
No, I don't know that they actually came up with it. I know that they were using it in France. And we can't use it in this country. For that matter, we might have invented it in this country. But because we have so many friggin' lawyers, we don't have a cure for schizophrenia. There's a pill around. I forget where I saw it. It might have been 60 Minutes. I don't know. It was one of those type of shows.
Well, this drug seems to be new.
Oh, okay. There was a pill around that actually cured schizophrenia. And you're talking about people who they don't even know reality from their dreams. They don't know what's real, what isn't. Hold on a second, I gotta sneeze. I just caught something in my hand.
Good catch.
Thanks. So, there was this cool drug that really worked.
But didn't you tell me that had a horrible side effect?
Yeah, and what the problem was, that maybe 1 out of 100 people would get cancer. So it became an issue. They said, wait a second, let's give people a choice. If you have someone who's a loved one who's sitting in Creedmoor as a vegetable, being like nude and sitting in his own feces.
Bumping into a wall.
Yeah, bumping into a wall. Wouldn't you want them? I mean, if I had to weigh it out, even if it was a child of mine, if I knew they had a chance of curing schizophrenia, even if they might get cancer, I think it's worth it because of having no life as it is. I would take the chance. I mean, it would hurt me to take the chance. I wouldn't want my kid to get cancer, but then again, I don't want my kid banging into the wall the rest of its life.
But if they got the cancer, then you have to stop the drug.
Yeah, so they'd have cancer, and plus it wouldn't bother them because they wouldn't know where they were anyway. So what would be so terrible? So the point is, anyone who wanted to try this drug couldn't in this country because they said there's so many lawyers in this country that the second someone gets cancer, they'll just sue. Because these lawyers are bloodsuckers. They're waiting online. What do they call this drug?
I call it Risperdal.
See, they always give it some weird name, like Risperdal. They ought to call it what it is. Like something like, try to act all right. You know what I mean? Something like that.
No more nut.
Yeah, no more nut. No more acting nutty. But they always try to give it a fancy name so you don't know what the hell's going on. That's drug companies for you. You never know. No dope.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
In Houston, a jury has ordered the 3M Corporation and 2 other companies to pay $12.9 million in damages to 3 women who claimed that they were caused health problems ranging from nerve damage to lupus, a skin disease, due to leaking silicone breast implants.
You got some sense of humor over there, pal.
The jury also ruled that the companies engaged in a conspiracy to avoid responsibility for their grossly negligent acts in making the implants and not warning patients about the side effects.
Unbelievable. Like nobody knew. Yeah. You know, since they had these breast implants, everyone said, listen, the silicone's dangerous. You're putting it right into your body.
Well, who told you the silicone was dangerous?
What, you need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that you're putting some chemicals into your breast?
No, I don't, Howard.
Oh,
you
please.
Can't compare everyone to
it's the lawyers again. Now they're going to pretend like nobody could figure this out before. Women were getting breast implants regardless of what they were told by their doctors.
They were getting the silicone shot right into their bodies.
Of course. Saw a woman the other day had silicone in her hips. It's down. For God's sakes.
But three women, $12.9 million they get to split.
Of course, because no one is willing to accept blame on themselves. They knew when they got the breast implants they were taking a health risk. You don't put a sack of drugs into your chest, a sack of chemicals, and not know that you're taking a risk. But in this country, they got lawyers, they got bloodsuckers everywhere that say, oh, my client, what do you mean? She don't know anything. She's a blank slate.
Senator Bob Packwood is going to be interviewed on 2020 by Barbara Walters tomorrow. He's the guy who has about 20-something women claiming that he made inappropriate sexual advances toward them.
It'd be great if you started coming on to Barbara Walters in the middle of the interview. Hey, you look pretty good.
Well, in this interview, he will admit, Howard, that, number one, he had a problem with alcohol. He was what you call a binge drinker. And it's nice to know that a guy who was sitting up there pulling a lever, voting on laws, was, he could have been snoggered half the time.
Wasn't he ruling on video games also?
So he now admits he was a binge drinker, and he would go for days or weeks without drinking, and then would sit down and drink a lot.
Oh, yeah!
Barbara asked him if he thought the drinking had anything to do with his conduct, and he said, I'm inclined to think in retrospect that it probably did. But he also admits to now being in counseling with some therapist about his sexual problems. He says as a child he was so shy and insecure and fearful of rejection that he had no relationships with women at all.
Everyone's got it all figured out.
So then once, I guess, he got into a position of power, he says he would just go up. He said, I've kissed hundreds of women in the hope that they wanted it.
Hey, one of them's got to want it. Hey, let me tell you
Can I help it that I was wrong like a quarter of the time?
What is it? Senator Bob Packwood is playing it just right. That's who I would be interviewed by if I was in a whole heap of trouble.
Yeah. Wouldn't go to Mike Wallace?
Mike Wallace will crucify you. Go to Barbara Walters. Tell me, weren't you a bit of a victim in all of this? You're right, Barbara. As a very young child, I didn't get laid a lot. Yeah, you were 5 years old. What do you mean? No one got laid at 5. Everyone was insecure. Bob, would it be out of line to ask you to touch my chest? Oh, thank you, Barbara. Obviously, you want it. What is it, Papa Phony?
If you want to jump back a couple of news stories, I got a schizophrenic on the phone who's a pretty interesting guy.
Oh, geez.
Well, let me tell you something.
He knows he's a schizophrenic.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, he's being treated.
You are being treated for schizophrenia?
I've been schizophrenic since 1978, and I'm being treated as an outpatient in Bellevue since 78.
Well, let me tell you something. If I could hand you a pill...
Yeah?
How many personalities you got?
No, schizophrenia is not like that.
If I could hand you and your other personality a pill.
It's not like that.
No, it's like that.
No, believe me, it's not.
You have no sense of reality, right?
I have every sense of reality. I'm a college student at Baruch.
Where? At Rockland Community?
CUNY, no, CUNY.
Even you don't go there.
No.
Don't call me CUNY. I mean, you're kind of cute, too, but... All right, listen to me. You are a schizophrenic. If I told you I could give you a pill that would cure your schizophrenia right now, would you take it?
Of course I would.
Of course.
Of course I would.
And what if I told you...
don't need it, because the medication I've been on all these years has cured me.
Well, then you're cured. Then what am I talking to you for?
Well, I just want to tell you that not all medication is right for everybody. Different medications affect different people differently. And
so tell me why why do they call you schizophrenic? What is if you don't have a couple of personalities, what is it that you do that's so weird?
In 1978, I went upstairs because I was hearing voices that I thought were coming from my neighbor, and I busted in their door. Ever since then, it's been bad news.
Hang up the phone.
No, please. Please don't hang up.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh.
Hang up the phone.
Please, no,
listen. No, I didn't say anything. I was just asking you about your,
Listen, I haven't been violent in any way to anybody. mental patients are as harmless as flies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, most of them are. You get these psychos, like stand near subways.
Take off your clothes. Then I think that you're right. Take off your clothes. I think that you're right. Get naked and run through the house. And
Howard, listen, I love you, Howard, but I gotta say you're wrong here.
Go steal me a television. I don't say. I'm wrong about what?
Subliminal?
No, I'm not saying anything.
Hello.
Go steal me a television.
Howard, you're very right on certain things, but you're also very wrong on other things.
Now, what am I wrong about? You didn't even say what I was wrong about. So you hear voices, and what would these voices tell you?
There was a list I made up back in the mid-'80s.
And what did the voice sound like?
Well, I had both a male and a female voice that would drive me nuts.
White duty on a bus window.
No, nothing like that.
What? I didn't say anything.
Nothing like that. They would just...
I'm just trying to ask you about your problem. Follow the yellow brick road.
I don't...
I'm not saying anything.
You're having a good job, dear. I was going to be an intern for you.
Send me a naked picture of your sister.
If I got some more journalism.
All right, listen. So in other words, you would hear voices. You went upstairs one day, and all of a sudden you started hearing voices, and you thought the voices were coming from upstairs.
Some girls that used to come around.
Yeah. And what did they say to you, these voices? Did they say dial 1-800-52-STAR?
They're making fun of me. I couldn't take it. I went up there. I did something about it. I paid the whole price.
No. Wait. So you're being very...
The whole 9 yards.
No. You're being very cryptic. I don't understand. I'm trying to determine the severity of your schizophrenia.
It was quite severe. I would hear voices for about 14 hours a day.
Now, how old were you when you started hearing the voices?
I think I was 20.
All right, 20 years old. You'd been living a normal life, and all of a sudden you heard some voices.
Yeah.
And what did the voice tell you to do?
I flunked out of U of M.
All right, who cares where you flunked out of? You heard some voices, and what did you do? What did the voice tell you to do? They told you to go upstairs?
It's not that they tell you to do anything. They just...
Well, what did they say?
Sometimes it's repetition.
What would they say to you?
Oh, everything. I try not to remember that part.
Then you're not cured.
No, I'm serious. I try not to remember exactly what
Why, are you afraid you'll slip back into a...
Yes, that is correct. I don't want to remember that.
You don't want to remember that?
No, not exactly what the actual words.
Did they say...
That? I don't want to go through that again.
And they told you to do evil things?
They mostly just made fun of me, commenting on my various actions. You light a cigarette, they'd comment on that.
All right, and they'd say, hey, what are you trying to look cool?
You get ready to shave or something, they comment on that.
Right, so every minute they...
Oh, it's like a commentary in your head of everything you do.
Continually commenting.
It's almost like what they call like a poltergeist. A little gnome telling you what to do and telling you, commenting on your...
Yeah,
right.
Kind of like that. I don't hear it anymore, but it was annoying as hell.
Right. So it's almost like you had your own Greg Gumbel doing color commentary on everything going on.
Hey, Bradshaw, man.
We're sitting here, and what's your first name?
Andrew.
Andrew is shaving, and he doesn't look too good today. No, not at all. You look horrible.
Look at him shaving.
The comments didn't last.
You're going to cut yourself.
You're going to cut yourself, you big idiot. Go kill your mom.
You never shave close enough anyway. You always got a 5 o'clock shadow.
So the voices would ask you to do illegal things sometimes, like kill people?
Later on, they told me to kill my roommate.
Oh, they did.
Of course, I never took it seriously.
Right.
Any of that stuff.
Right.
They would tell me that, and I would just, oh, the hell with you or something.
And your roommate was a guy?
Well, he's been living with me for 15 years, so I guess I know him pretty well.
Yeah, and he's your life mate?
We are very close.
Are you lovers?
No. He is gay. I'm not.
Oh, he's gay and you're not.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you're gay.
I've often thought so, but I'm not. I'm not gay.
All right.
I've had gay experiences, but I'm not gay.
All right, so you took some drugs and now you don't hear any voices?
Not since I was on either Housel or Sorrento. I haven't heard voices on either one of those.
So why am I wrong? Why are you calling up to argue with me?
I'm not. I wasn't really calling up to argue with you. I've loved your show for years. I've been listening to it, laughing and roaring and laughter.
Do the voices like it too?
I told you, Howard, I haven't heard voices in a long time. Mm-hmm. Not since I've been on either Housel or Sorrento. And I never heard of this rice pearl.
It's new.
Yeah, it's a new drug. All right, very good. Thank you for your call.
Okay, thank you, Howard. Keep up the good work. I love you, Robin.
What do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah.
He hears voices.
I listen to radio and watch TV all day.
I see.
Robin, do all the voices count in our ratings? In other words, you don't have to work because you have this affliction.
Well, I have it. I have. Well, Reagan threw us all off.
Reagan did it. Who supports you?
My mother.
Oh, your mom supports you?
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a good deal. She must be having a wonderful life.
I wish I had some.
So now that you don't hear drugs, why can't you go? Why now that you have these drugs, why can't you go out and get a job?
That
would be too much.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Well,
that is a good point.
No, Howard. No, wait a minute. Howard's right. The reason I don't is because I have a lot of laziness in me.
Yeah, you're lazy, and I'll tell you why you have schizophrenia.
Why?
Because you couldn't deal with life. You don't want to face responsibilities. You're a little boy. That's all. You don't need drugs. Your problem's easy to see. Grow up. Grow up. Thank you.
Well, why can't he do a job?
He could do a job. That's why he developed the schizophrenia. Now he doesn't have. Now he can leech off his mother the rest of his life.
Boy, that's real cold.
Well, it's true.
I've always liked you, Howard. I've always thought you're pretty.
Am I right? Am I right or am I wrong?
There's parts of it that is that I admit to.
There's parts of it that are right.
Parts of it that I admit to. But I'll tell you something. I heard voices for 10 years that would go on for 12 hours.
Let me tell you something. I hear voices all the time. I show up for work.
You hear voices?
You know what the voice tells me? You better get to work.
Yeah, the voices are telling you to get out.
Yeah, because otherwise I won't be able
to feed. I don't.
What?
You got a family to support. I don't.
Yeah, you got a mother who's busting her ass for you.
That's true, but she.
I don't want to hear it. Nonsense with that schizophrenia. A lot of these so-called
schizophrenia. He says he's
schizophrenics.
cured now, and now he doesn't. He's got a lot of laziness in him.
He sounds like he needs that drug.
They need another drug for the laziness.
Yeah. Lazy drug.
Kaiser Permanente hospitals in Sacramento say they'll clear the air by banning cigarette smoking outside of their facility as well as inside.
Really?
Yeah, they're really cracking down. And they're going to refuse to hire smokers.
Who is this?
Kaiser Permanente. It's a HMO out in California and some other places.
Who wants to work there anyway? Kaiser Permanente. How about using an American name?
But this is just so far in the Sacramento area. But that's a new step. You can't even go outside and smoke.
That's what Hitler tried to call himself.
Permanente?
Yeah, the permanent Kaiser. But didn't work out.
But this crackdown on smoking is getting very serious. Where will you be able to smoke soon?
Jackie's house. Come on, everyone.
You can't smoke outside. You can't smoke inside.
Let's smoke.
They do say that they have anti-smoking programs that people can attend. And they have the nicotine patch. They're helping in every way they can to get people off cigarettes, but they are not going to condone it by letting people walk outside and light up.
Now, why isn't Senator Jesse Helms? He's worried about kids. How come he's not behind that bill? How come he's not behind these companies that want to ban smoking? He's worried about the health of children. Isn't he? Isn't he so worried that kids might hear the word penis and it might destroy their lives? How come he doesn't worry about smoking? I'll tell you why. That's a tobacco-growing state.
You mentioned this a little earlier. There are New Jersey welfare recipients who get on a PATH train, come to New York, apply for welfare as homeless people, and then get themselves a P.O. box, and they're collecting checks in New Jersey and in New York.
Yep. No government officials aware of that. All your tax dollars, all you suckers out there that work, you should be like that schizophrenic, all of you. Sit home, because all your tax dollars go to these nudniks who figures out ways to beat the system. All these Medicaid rip-offs, and these government officials, they don't even look into it. They look the other way. They're all worried about video games and penis on the radio. Freaks. Hypocrisy. I got to get out of here.
Somebody's thinking of having a Jeffrey Dahmer auction.
Yeah, that was Fred's idea. It's a bad idea. I told you that. Now right away everyone's coming down on you, Fred.
No, there's this lawyer. He says he represents the families of the victims who were killed by Jeffrey Dahmer, and he wants to get these people some money, and the only way he can think of doing it is to hold an auction of Dahmer's estate.
He doesn't get any of the money?
Oh, of course he does.
Oh, he does. Okay, listen. First of all, who are the people that would bid? First of all, what a shocking story. A lawyer doing something in bad taste. Hey, let me tell you something. Who are these people? You know what people ought to do? Instead of going and spending your money on Jeffrey Dahmer memorabilia, why don't you go to your window and toss your money out? Just throw it right out the window so I can get some of it.
They say there's lots of furniture and clothes.
Can't we eat lawyers? Why'd they pass a law?
There's a 6-inch steel blade, a Craftsman drill owner's manual, and a few saw blades.
Recipes, yeah. Human recipes.
They say they can only...
Foot Parmesan.
They can only hold this auction with Dahmer's approval.
Oh, we need his approval.
Yeah, they say, he's got to get something out of it. So
yeah.
That's the only way he'll approve. But this is the lawyer's idea for getting money for the victims. Dahmer, meanwhile, they say, is inundated with marriage proposals.
Look at that.
By female fans, and has a little cottage industry going in prison writing letters. He informs his correspondents that there's a cost involved with stamps and stationery, and they need to defray the costs so that his pals are now enclosing $10 and $20 apiece so that he can write them back.
Making more money than Stuttering John.
I was thinking, maybe we ought to write a letter as a woman to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Propose. Can you imagine? There are guys out there, decent, hardworking guys, can't get laid. Fred had to go on Dial-A-Date, get himself a girlfriend.
He didn't know all he had to do was kill somebody.
I was ready to chop somebody up.
Believe me, and you don't know how true that is. Not too many guys travel around with a shovel in the back seat of their car in the summertime.
You never asked about the garbage bag. Never mind.
Never mind is right. That's amazing to me that Jeffrey Dahmer gets letters from women. That's why we're doomed.
But I was thinking,
I couldn't get laid. I couldn't get laid all through college, hardly.
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice if I was lucky. And I was a regular guy with a nice personality. I never thought about eating anybody.
Maybe that was your problem.
Yeah. Jeffrey Dahmer is kind of cute.
Nice flag.
If you just get rid of those aviators.
Somebody could do a makeover on him.
Anything else, Robin?
Well, I just thought, you don't think it's a good idea to write to Jeffrey Dahmer?
No.
I would like to get a letter.
Baba Booey writes to all the mass murderers.
He loves these mass murderers.
I think he's engaged to John Wayne Gacy.
There's also, I saw something in the paper the other day about a John Wayne Gacy exhibit. Somebody's exhibiting his artwork.
They should burn that down.
So anyway, that's what's happening, folks. Oh, and I have to remember this. I'm saying this as my own reminder. Tonight at 9 o'clock on the Disney Channel, they're going to present the last in a 5-part series on Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, that's important.
I have to remember. I love those. I don't know about you, but I love it when Martin Short sits there and
kisses Jerry's
Jerry.
ass. Yeah, it is fun.
Did you see the name of it?
No, what's the name?
Oh, shoot. It's like the greatest movie guy ever or something. Or movie.
Jerry Lewis sits there. Dean Martin's not a part of this. Jerry Lewis sits there and goes, I wrote everything for Dean. I'm the greatest guy in the world. And Martin Short sits there and plays into the whole thing.
We were a great team. I did all the work and Dean showed up.
It's frightening. And then Jerry shows you a bunch of old clips from some dumb TV show he did for about 2 minutes. And it's the most unfunny stuff. It's Jerry making believe he's typing.
Howard, it's called Jerry Lewis Total Filmmaker.
Yeah.
Total Filmmaker.
Yeah, Total Filmmaker. Yeah.
I got to get that on tape.
Show me clips of Jerry locking himself in his bathroom. That's what I'd rather see. I would watch that, but I'm going to be at the John Wayne Gacy art exhibit.
I see.
They really shouldn't allow that. I know you got to have freedoms, but that's one thing you could take away, a little freedom.
Hey, you start there, and then the next thing you know, you can't do radio.
Yeah, well, that's already here.
And Johnny Carson will be coming out on home video, the best of Carson. I thought you'd be interested in that. There you have it.
Thank you, Robin. Jackie Joke Man Marlin.
Jackie Joe Man Marlin.
Jackie Joe Man Marlin.
Jackie Marlin known them.
Thursday night, March 24th at the Funny Bone Comedy Club on South Street in Philadelphia. Go try and stump the Joke Man.
John Coco Marlin.
Dirty Jokes, and to order Jackie's new comedy CD, call the all-digital 516-922-WINE. Remember, 516-922-WINE is just a regular call.
Jerry Matlin.
Boy Gary this Friday night at New York's China Club on 75th and Broadway, hosting an erotic dance contest and a Stern trivia contest. And this Sunday night from 8:30 to 10:30, he'll be at Goomba's Italian restaurant on Mount Prospect Avenue in Clifton, New Jersey, featuring the music of No Discipline. All right. get on Stuttering John's mailing list, call 609-546-STUPID. And if you're planning a wedding or party and you need a great disc jockey, call Scott the Engineer's Rocket Entertainment. Toll free, any city, 1-800-PARTY-MC. If you'd like to hire Scott in the New York area, call 718-BAG-5040. All right, Robin, I'll see you.